profound condolences to my brother, President Mohammed Isufu, on the tragic jihadist attack on his country earlier this month. In the same manner, I wish to commend him as chair of our organization for the efforts that he has continued to deploy to the Mali's political situation since the results of the parliamentary elections were announced in March, and especially for convening this extraordinary session of our organization to discuss and find solutions to the disturbing political situation in that country. Excellencies, indeed it saddens me greatly as we meet today to discuss the turn of events in Mali, which commenced on Tuesday this week, where President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, his Prime Minister, and senior members of his government were arrested, resulting in the forcible resignation of the President as well as the dissolution of the Parliament. Both acts are illegal and stand condemned. The action of the military runs counter to the letter and spirit of ECOWAS Protocol on Good Governance and Democracy, in which unconstitutional change of government is prohibited. Mali has been in political turmoil since the results of the parliamentary elections were announced in March this year. ECOWAS interventions through a series of efforts by ministers, the special envoy, and chief mediator, and a group of heads of state of our organization, as well as an extraordinary summit, did not yield positive results. Today, Mali has not only descended into political chaos, but also socio-economic and security disaster with potential tragic consequences to Mali and the sub-region. I am pleased that ECOWAS, European Union, United Nations, and France issued strongly worded statements against the action of the Malian military. The events in Mali are great setbacks for regional diplomacy, which have grave consequences for the peace and security of West Africa. I am pleased, therefore, that this extraordinary summit, holding to discuss pathways to the debacle we face today in Mali, is most timely and appropriate. The closure of borders already called for by ECOWAS should be our first line of action. We need to isolate series of sanctions regimes that can create and sustain sufficient pressure on the military to force a return to constitutional governance. The critical issues for resolution in the Malian crisis had been aptly captured as a four-point pathway to peace. Within that context, and if all parties to the crisis were to abide by those recommendations, the developments now on ground would have been avoided. The action of the military in Mali has regrettably hoisted on us as a sub-region the need to decide the options that will be consistent with the provisions of the Protocol on Good Governance and Democracy, which ECOWAS, African Union, and the United Nations subscribes to. In this context, therefore, Nigeria believes and Nigeria believes that President Keita and all other detainees should be released unconditionally and with immediate effect. Furthermore, we strongly support the efforts of our chairman, President Muhammadu Isufu, for wider regional and continental consultations with ECOWAS, African Union, and the United Nations in adopting strong measures to promoting early resolution of constitutional order, peace, and stability in Mali. Military involvement in governance, in whatever guise, is an aberration that has no place in managing the business of government that suspends the Constitution and, with it, democratic institutions. It is time for the unconstitutional authority in Mali to act responsibly and do the needful by heeding to the above recommendations. A politically stable Mali is paramount and crucial to the stability of the sub-region. ECOWAS, the African Union, and the United Nations should not stand by while the situation deteriorates. Thus far, their strong statements of condemnation are sincerely appreciated, and I urge them to continue to walk this route together with us until sanity returns to Mali with the restoration of civil administration. I thank you for your attention.